Testing. Hello, hello. From death trap to safe haven, how to prevent falls in your home. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about this because falls are the leading cause of injury and injury related deaths in those over the age of 65. And there are some sneaky things that you have in your house, some unsuspecting things that you have in your house that you may not even be aware of that can lead to a fall. Now, listen, I don't want you to hang up on me. Continue to hold the line because if you're like, oh, I'm not 65 next, let me look at something else. Let me let you know that this issue starts early, and even as early as 40 or 50 years old, you are still at risk for falls for several different reasons. So I want for you to continue to tune in because we're going to talk about it. Today, we're going to talk about the causes of falls and some tips on how you can prevent them because that is the important part and the important piece of this. If this is your first time watching, or if you are, a seasoned person and you've been watching for a while, either way, welcome and thank you so much for joining me on today. I am Dr. Ashley Booth. I'm a board certified family medicine physician, and I provide health tips and tools that you can use in your everyday life. So I want you to go ahead and subscribe and follow if you haven't already done so. Like someone told me, it's free. You have nothing to lose. I'm not going to spam you or do any of those things. But what you will get in return is a lot more because you are going to get some things that you can actually use in your everyday life. Go ahead and share this and let people know that I'm talking about something that they absolutely will encounter because all of us have had a fall at one point in our life. And as we get older, that increases. And like I said, we don't want some of those other outcomes that can happen. So let them know. But let's get into it and let's talk about it. But before we talk about falls, we have to talk about balance, right? And I think we all know what balance is. People can always say, oh, that's off balance. Oh, that's not balance. So you need to balance that, right? But when it comes to us and our human bodies, what helps us to balance in the first place? And it is a multifactorial kind of complex system of things that actually go on with us simultaneously and 24/7 to help us stay balanced, things that we're not even aware of. And some of the systems that are involved are our eyes, our ears, our musculoskeletal system, like our bones and our muscles, all of that. All of these things come together and they help us to stay balanced. But if any of that is off, then our body is off. And so, for a lot of different reasons that's related to that, then we start to notice that we become off balance as we get older. And like I said, that risk increases as early as 40 to 50 years old. We start to lose our balance because of those different systems that keep us aligned and keep us balanced. And the reason why this is important and the reason why staying balanced is important is because when you fall, that fall can literally cause death. Now, I'm not trying to like incite a lot of things, and people say, "Oh, you're just using that to get everybody all excited." No, I've seen it. I have personally seen when I go into the hospital and had things happen to different situations. And one of it could be if you break a bone. If you break a bone, that can cause some issues down the line because depending on how old you are, depending on how bad of a break it was, that can determine whether or not you're going to be able to rehab and go home and be fine, or if you're going to be bed bound. And if you're bed bound, the more likely you're going to stay in there. You're not going to be able to move and do the things. That is going to limit your ability to move and all of that, and that increases your chance of dying, unfortunately. The other thing is a brain bleed. People don't think about that. We always think about the broken home and break a hip, but you can have a brain bleed. You can fall so hard that there can be some bleeding on the brain, and depending on how bad that bleed is, determines how well you can recover. So falls are a very serious thing, and it is something that we need to do something about. So we can really prevent some of these things. Like I said, because in your home, that's where the majority of these things happen. So before we even talk about that, let's talk about some of the causes of the falls. Now, one of the things I said earlier was balance and those systems that can get us off balance. One of them is vision. When was the last time you had an eye exam? Some people are still wearing glasses that they wore 5 years ago, and they have not gone back for a checkup because they say, "Oh, I think I feel fine. I don't see anything different." Well, I thought I could see okay until I went to the doctor and they told me I needed glasses. Okay, so what you have to do is make sure you go and get these regular checkups because what it really shows us is also depth perception. So you may not. I've had a lot of people. I didn't realize that curve was that steep. I didn't realize I was stepping off of that because there's a vision issue. So you want to make sure that you get your vision checked. The other thing is your ears. I'm starting to see this, especially more in cold and flu season. Your ears get stopped up, you feel kind of off. Well, there's fluid in your ears, there's crystals that are in there that help you stay balanced. If those things get off, then that can affect you. Decreased hearing and you're not able to hear that well, that can increase your risk of fall because your ears help you sense if something is coming. If you can't hear it, then you are going to not be able to move in time to prevent falling from it. So you need to still get your ears checked. The other thing is physical fitness, musculoskeletal, like I talked about, your muscles and bones. As you get older, your muscles start to decrease. And so you don't have as much muscle mass, which means you may not have as much strength. So you want to make sure that you still continue with some strengthening exercises so that you can keep your strength. The other thing is flexibility. You want to stretch. A lot of people feel like stretching is like overrated. It is not. Get up and do a stretch. 5 minutes in the morning. As soon as you get up, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, bend down. At least do that to get moving and get everything loose. Because if you are rigid and if something is coming your way and you're not able to move out of the way and flex and move, then you're going to go down. So those are some things. The medications that you take could potentially lead to falls. A lot of things, if you're using sleep aids and stuff like that, some blood pressure medicines, especially if your blood pressure is too low. So you want to talk to your doctor about those medications and say, "Hey, I'm starting to feel this. If you, especially if you're feeling off, can we go through some medicines and see which one of these could be causing an issue and what I can put in place to keep from having a fall." Something else, medical conditions. If you've been diagnosed with something, there's a whole long list of everything from thyroid to strokes to diabetes to blood pressure, all those kinds of things, depending on how well they are managed and what's going on with them, that can affect how well you are going to be able to balance yourself. For instance, if you had a stroke and then that stroke leaves you with some like decreased movement on one side, some weakness, then you want to make sure you work with physical therapy to strengthen those areas. If you have diabetes, you have some numbness and tingling in your hands or in your feet, or if you have some medications that cause you to have some numbness and tingling in your hands or in your feet, you want to be aware of that because that is going to increase your risk of fall. So you want to make sure that you are safe. Now, how can we be safe in the home? Because this is where all of the things are happening. So we're going to talk about some of these tips on how you can do it, like some of these little sneaky things that come up on us, but some tips that you can use to prevent this from happening. One of those things is lack of safety equipment. It is really, really a good idea to put in those safety bars, especially in the showers and the bathrooms, because a lot of times if that bathroom floor of the tub gets a little slippery, even if it has the grips in there, because of the water, because of the soap, it can get slippery. That can get your feet from under you. If you have a bar to hold on to, you may still fall, but you're catching yourself a little bit, so it's not as bad of a fall. So having those installed and already in the shower is a good idea because you rather have it in there now and have it and not need it, but than to need it and not have it, right? The other one is ramps. If you are, even if you're not in a wheelchair, If you are not able to navigate stairs that well or steps that well anymore, and it takes a lot, you first of all, when you have steps and stairs, you want to make sure that you have some railings that you can hold on to get up and down. But if that's starting to become a bit of a chore, a ramp, especially one that has a gentle incline, that will help you to be able to get up there and get up there safely. The other thing that I'm noticing is that some people, y'all have a lot of this stuff, but the issue is not using that safety equipment properly. You know how, especially those of you who have a cane and a walker, know how I know is because someone will have a fall, and I've had this happen. People will call the EMS and stuff all the time because they had a fall in their home. We go into the home and we see that the walker is on the other side of the house or the cane is on the other side of the house, and we say, "What happened?" "Oh, I just went to go do this." You know how I know you guys are doing that? It's because you're leaving those canes and walkers in my office. Not the walker so much, but those canes. A lot of people just walk on off without it. Like, I don't need it. It's not that big a deal. Some people say because I don't need it or I don't want it. And I understand that. But think of this as your assistant. It is an assisted device, and it's an assistive device. So it is your assistant. Everybody loves an assistant. I love an assistant. I want an assistant. So that is your assistant. It is to help you get to where you need to be safely. If you don't like the way it looks, bedazzle it or something. I don't know. But you need to keep track of it and use it all the time. The one time that you don't use it is the one time that you can fall. Think about that. The other thing is not using it properly. I have a few people say, "Oh, I do. I think I do need a cane, or I think I do need a walker, or whatever." And then they just go into the store and they buy one because no one will say you can't have one. If you have the money, you can go in there, you can buy it. Issue is you have not been taught how to use it properly. So some people, I see their cane is way up here and they're putting it in the wrong arm. And I was like, this is not. Mm-mm. So if you have something and you're concerned, talk to your doctor and see if they can either adjust it and do it for you or send you to physical therapy. I send people to physical therapy all the time, not so that they can, strengthen those areas. If they do, that's great. But I send them so that they can get trained on how to use those different devices. They are there, they can show you, use this arm, use this foot with it. Also, you want to make sure that this is the level for you. So this is where we're going to set the height. So that way you can use it and use it safely. The other thing are some little hazards that you have around the house. One of the first things are those cute shoes. A lot of people like to wear house shoes. Some people don't like to wear their shoes from outdoors in the house, so they wear a different pair of shoes. So they have some house shoes, cute little slippers. What you want to make sure is that they have some grip on the bottom because those non-skid soles are not going to work for you. And how you can test and see if this shoe is the right shoe for you, take that shoe and see if you can slide it, especially around across the floor, like the kitchen floor or your living room floor if you have hardwoods or laminate flooring. See if you can slide that shoe. If that shoe goes sliding all the way across the hallway or whatever, then that means that's how you're going to slide down the hall. You don't want that. So you want to get some shoes that have some good grip on the bottom. Also, the shoes need to fit properly. I see a lot of people have on some shoes that are entirely too big. This is a huge trip and fall hazard. So make sure that the shoes are like not tight, but they want to be snug and they fit on your foot properly. So having these huge slides is not it. Get something that is a size that makes more sense for you and that's closer to your size. Clutter. Not attacking. This is not an attack right now, but with the clutter that you may have in your home, it could be simple things. You could have some paper, some boxes. People start to accumulate little things. Oh, this little cute little thing over here and this little cute thing over there. But you start to get too much and it's not in certain places, then that can cause a fall hazard very easily. So getting some of those things put up and out of the way. Cords, a lot of us have cell phones and devices and all these different things, and they all have cords and they can be all over the place. Make sure that the cords are kind of tucked away and you have them to the side so there's no issues there. Carpet, carpet. And and I say carpet, but I'm thinking of like more like rugs in your bathroom, that you have those. I've had several people to fall because that rug or carpet got away from them and they slipped and they fell in the bathroom and they hit their heads on like the tub or the sink. Very, very serious. So if these rugs, again, if you move it and you can easily move it, it's got to go. Find one that has some grip on the bottom. Other rugs that you have throughout your house, I see some people have some beautiful rugs all over their home, but if the edges are curling up, then you need to find a way to curl those back down. If they won't go down, it's got to go. If it moves and you don't have a gripper pad underneath it, it's got to go because it is going to slip, get away from you, and it's going to cause an issue. Hello, I see you watching. Thank you. The other thing that I have is lighting. This one is key, and I learned this from years ago. A lot of people, listen, I get it. We lights are out. Lights are out in the house, but then you may need to get up for some reason. Night lights. And the night lights that are automatic, the ones that as soon as you turn off the light, then you have a little simple glow. You can put them in your bedroom. Bathrooms are great. Hallways are great. It's a good way to be able to light your path because a lot of people are falling at night because they're getting up out of the bed. They're not turning the lamp on. They say, oh, I'll be able to feel my way. And if they're not having a fall, they're hurting themselves because they're breaking and hurting their fracturing their toes and stuff like that because they got up at night and they hurt themselves. So get some cute little plug-in lights. No one's really bothered by it. And then when you turn the lights off, they automatically come on. They give you a nice warm glow. You're able to see and do what you need to do, and they're not disruptive. So night lights, that is like absolutely something that you should invest in and put them in different places throughout your home. The other one, pets. I know you guys love, love, love your pets, but you have to be careful with them. And at first, we were thinking maybe large versus the small, but all of them can cause an issue. With the small ones, especially your dogs that you're walking, you have to be careful because with the leash, they could be walking around, and not only are they walking in front of you, sometimes they want to walk all the way around and they walk behind you and they walk beside you and all this stuff. And then the leash starts to get tangled up and then you can fall. So you want to make sure that you are aware of where they're going and what they're doing. When they're bigger on that leash, they can pull you too hard and that can cause a fall for sure. So make sure that your animals, your pets, your furry friends are well trained. Then the when they're inside of the home, if they are not well trained because they are all over the place, they're always in your space, you never see them, you never know when they're going to come up. So you're working on something and you turn around and you get ready to move, you didn't know that they were there. That causes a fall. We're starting to see an increase in falls because of that, because they said, oh, I didn't realize that they were there, and they stepped over them and they fell. So make sure that your pets and furry friends are either very well trained or you are very aware of where they are all around you. So these are my main tips, especially those shoes, cluttered cords, carpets, lighting. Do all of those things around your home, your furry friends, and make sure that you are safe because at the end of the day, your house could essentially be a death trap or it can be a safe haven. And I know that if you implement these few little things and put them into place, your house will be more of a safe haven and you guys will be well. So until next time, I will see you soon. Take care.